What's going on, you guys? It's your huggable hipster here, and welcome to a video where we dive into my greatest passion, my greatest joy, my greatest everything, and that is Resident Evil. I know some of you who have been on this channel watching me for the past, 5 years now? 4 years. 4 years now know my love for Resident Evil, zombies, vampires, all of them. So today we are going to be going over the top 5 things that you may not have known about Resident Evil. Number 1 on our list, Resident Evil was originally a first-person shooter. Yeah, that's right. All of you guys who love the fixed camera angles, the creepy atmosphere, not knowing what's going to pop around the next corner, it was originally a first-person shooter. The fixed camera angle was influenced by a 1992 game called Alone in the Dark. Now, if shooting monsters from a first-person perspective wasn't creepy enough, I feel as if it's even creepier when you have that fixed camera perspective, because it lends the person to feel like, oh, they really don't know what's going to come around the corner. For me, third-person perspective, fixed camera angle every time. I know, old school, but still, it's my favorite way to experience horror. Resident Evil had these restricting viewpoints that I feel like if they put it into first-person perspective back then, it would have made it cringy and really unplayable to an extent. Tidbit number 2 that you might not have known about Resident Evil was that it was nearly put on Game Boy Color. The original Resident Evil was to be ported onto a Game Boy, and from an article that I found here, the handheld version was 90% complete before Capcom scrapped it, stating that they were not confident that the product would have made both consumers and Capcom happy. I mean, to be honest, I would have loved a Game Boy Color version of Resident Evil. I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. Tidbit number 3, Resident Evil was heavily inspired by another Capcom game that came out in the 80s. Critically acclaimed Japanese horror game Sweet Home was literally the starting point for Resident Evil. This is the foundation of what made Resident Evil what it is today, and Capcom really fully intended Resident Evil to be a remake of Sweet Home. Now, the 1989 game Sweet Home was only released in Japan due to its graphic content. Elements like the mansion setting, the puzzles, the inventory management, even the notes, that was all first done with the game Sweet Home, and that is what made Resident Evil what it is. It's iconic, and it's one of the first things that we really notice whenever we're going into the game, because for me, at least when I was playing it, I love the story, I love the background, I love the creepy nuances that the notes really gave about what each person and their job was technically in the mansion. So anytime that I would read the notes, for me at least, it was always so thrilling and so suspenseful. And also, not to mention those tense door opening scenes. You know, the ones I'm talking about that took forever. I could get my coffee, come back, and the door would still be opening. Tidbit number 4 of Resident Evil that you probably didn't know, there were supposed to be other playable characters within the first game. Now, there was actually some digging that I had to do in order to find this information, but it states here in an article that I found, the first game's protagonists, Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine, were going to be joined by 2 alternative character choices. Now, although these characters were scrapped, and I kind of wonder what the hulking radio guy would have been like as a different playable character, Dewey still remained. Dewey was kept as an NPC, Star's pilot, Edward Dewey. And the 5th and final thing that you might not have noticed about Resident Evil, or you might not have known about Resident Evil, is that some gruesome messages were actually removed from the game. Now, a trial version of Resident Evil, a lot of the messages were written in blood on the wall, which actually I would have loved to have seen. And presumably this was to flesh out the story of the zombified people within the mansion. One reads, and I quote here, "Painful breathing, someone stop this suffering." Another message that was to be scribed on the wall with blood is, "For God's sakes, get out," which is actually a direct reference from Resident Evil's spiritual precursor, Sweet Home. There's so much that I could cover about this game. It's just insane how much lore and how much just secret little tidbits there are about Resident Evil. If you guys want another video like this, the top 5 things that you didn't know about Resident Evil Part 2, let me know and I can do a video like. But if you guys like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit the bell down below, because I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, double uploads on Friday, and sometimes music covers on Saturdays. I always say double uploads on Wednesdays as well. This outro is getting so freaking long, my god. But stay casually nerdy, you guys, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.